Yeah, what's going on, people? Hope you're all doing well. Oh, I'm going to try this and see how I get on. Obviously, I haven't been well. Tested positive for COVID. Can you believe that it still exists? Apparently, even though people tell me it doesn't exist, who knows? Um, I'm not well, whether you believe in COVID or not. Um, Flu, cold, whatever. Not been well, but I thought, you know what? Let's try and do a stream, see how I get on. It's incredibly hot up here. This might be a very short one because I'm overheating every day. So hopefully I'll get through it okay. We're going to talk a little bit about Arsenal. We're going to talk about some of the transfer news. We're going to talk about what's happening in certain departments of what Arsenal need: striker, winger, midfield, defence, goalkeeper. They're the areas that Arsenal are trying to strengthen. David Ornstein has been talking about what Arsenal are trying to be doing. And there's been reports of Fabrizio Romano today as well, which we're going to go through. We are going to talk about Victor Gyokeres. Trust me. How reliable are these sources and reports of a bid in Portugal? I was speaking to Sam, big up to Sam, before I went live, and he said if I had to put some of the most unreliable people, it would be the Portuguese media at times because they have got a lot wrong. So let's hope for those that want Gyökeres that it's true. And I'm, of course, one of those. Big up to everyone that's in the chat. Big up to all the mods. Do me a favor. If anyone does show any abuse today, please kick them out. Please, because I'm going to need some help with that. Big up to Carol. Big up to Craig. Big up to Ryan. The mods are here. Big up to Tammy. And big up to Sophie as well. I hope you're well, Soph. And you know what? It's not football season, but the Club World Cup is soon, which means you need to order match bingo. Now, all you need to do is make sure you go up to that QR code and scan it. Make sure you download the app. You need to credit just £5 to your account, and then boom, you've got your bingo cards. Somebody won the other day, a Liverpool fan, £150. So there are winners that are in the chat. So please make sure that you're one of them. Click on the link live in the chat now, and you can download the app. Make sure that you upload and credit just £5. It's nothing, guys, and you can play. It does everything automatically for you. You get your card, and as the games start playing, you can then actually watch the game that perhaps you've got a bit of an interest in, but perhaps you're watching, I don't know, PSG or Real Madrid in the Club World Cup. Maybe you're watching Man City or Chelsea. And then all you can get is a automatic card, and your bingo will start playing. So big up to Match Bingo. Please make sure you're showing them some love because they've been fantastic to us. Look, we're going to start with the news from David Ornstein, and he's been talking quite a lot about what Arsenal are looking at. Now, let's go with AFC stuff because that is the one that I always start with. And if I'm honest with you, excuse me, it's one that I quite like. Now, I will say this: I do not know how reliable these sources are. I am not an ITK, and I always make sure I say that because otherwise people will go, "Oh, Dan Potts said that we're getting this guy." No, I didn't. All I do is share share information that we get. Right. Whether you believe this is reliable or not, I'll let you decide that. Some people don't rely on Romano. Some people think Ornstein's a nightmare. Some people think Sammy Mockbell talks rubbish. Other people thinks he's the best and he don't lie and it's great. You decide. Yeah, everyone's got their own opinions, people. There's 400 of you or over that now. Could you hit like and subscribe, please? I'm not feeling well. That would make me feel 100% better if you could just hit those two buttons that are free, like and subscribe, people. We've got well over 400 in here already, which is mad. 450 now. So please make sure we do that. Okay, let's talk through AFC stuff. Team News and Ticks suggests that Yoral Hato is a target. Now, it's been more than phone calls to understand. Can tell I'm not well. Understand his situation. As we know, Andrea Berta works on multiple deals at a time. And when Arsenal were talking to Dean Howson, they were also talking to Yoral Hato and his camp. At the moment, it's not clear on how the situation will play out. The players' camp's unsure. He'll get the minutes he needs and is mulling over the opportunity. This is made complicated by Chelsea being interested, and there'll likely be more minutes available for him there. Okay, let's break that down a little bit, right? We know Yoral Hato has been on the radar for a while. I'm not excited by defenders, but I do believe that we need another cover player coming in. I actually don't think if Kivior's staying that we need Yoel Hato. And if he is to come in, I imagine that Calafiori and Hato will be playing more in the left back position, and Lewis-Skelly might be pushed into midfield. That's what I imagine will happen. Yoel Hato will not start at Arsenal. Timber will be right back. Ben White will be his cover. And then at left back, I imagine Lewis-Skelly will continue with his performances of late. Calafiori, I think, will back up there. Hato can play there, but the left-sided cover of defence will be Gabriel and Kivior at the moment. So I don't see that another left-back is needed personally. I can't believe we're linked with left-backs again, if I'm honest. But we are. Now, I like Yoel Hato, and I will say I think it would be a good signing. But I do not understand why we're looking at a left-back over what we've got at the moment. If Kivior does go, then Yoel Hato would be a great signing. I understand why Dean Howson and Mark Guehi and Mosquera are being looked at because they're right-sided defenders. Do I think we're going to get two defenders? Well, if Kivior goes, we're going to need two because you need 8, right? 2 right-backs, which we've got in White and Timber. 2 left-backs, which we've got in Calafiori and Lewis-Skelly. 2 right-sided defenders and 2 left-sided defenders. Well, we've got 2 left-sided defenders in Gabriel and Kivior, but we've only got Saliba. So that means we need a right-sided defender. So Guehi would be a great shout. But Guehi and Hato and Howson and these guys that obviously Howson's already gone, they all want first-team football. Now, Howson, Real Madrid, bit different. Probably not guaranteed it there, but I imagine he probably fancies his chances to start a few games now that they've got injury problems at Madrid. Mark Guehi's not going to start ahead of Saliba. So, look, left-sided centre-back cover will be needed if Kivior goes. This is just a backup squad player. Yoel Hato's got attributes similar to Jurriën Timber, where he's versatile, athletic. He's been brilliant for Ajax and captained them. I think he's the youngest captain they've had at, 17 or 18. I think he's 19 now. So I get why we're linked. But then I look at the scenario and think, do we need another left back? This would be something like 8 left backs that Arsenal have had. When you think Mikel Arteta's used Kieran Tierney, he's used Nuno Tavares, he's used Kivior at left back, he's used Tomiyasu and Timber at left back at times. Zinchenko has been used. Obviously, Lewis-Skelly, Calafiori. If we're getting another guy in, that is going to be Hato. That's number 9. I can't believe we need this many left backs. I've got to be honest with you guys. It's crazy. It really is. I do not believe that we need another left back, but another centre back certainly is where I'm at. I like Hato. I like what he brings. I think the attributes are pretty good. Do I watch the Dutch league? No, but I knew how good Timber was, and straight away I could tell he was going to be class. With Hato, it's very similar in terms of his attributes. Is he as good as Timber? I don't think so, but he is only 18 or 19. So I think Timber's brother is also a very good player. Quinton, I think his name is. And Yoel Hato is right up there. So whoever does get him, it's a very good signing. If I had to put money on it, I think Chelsea are probably going to get him over Arsenal, unless Timber can have a chat with him and gets him, across the line. So that one could be interesting. So watch what happens here. Could be very interesting, in fact. So that's the first bit of news, is obviously defence. What's mad is a goalkeeper, a defender, and a midfielder Arsenal were looking at getting done first. Can you believe it? It's mad, isn't it? That the defender links look like it's going to happen again. The goalkeeper looks like it's pretty much wrapped up. Central defensive midfield looks like it's been done for a while. I don't want to see any more defensive signings or no more goalkeepers, left backs, full backs, centre backs, like defense. But when these guys come in, that's enough. Let's get the attackers in, man. That's what we need to do. Big up to Jay in the chat, man. I hope you're well, my bro. Big up to DJ Denz as well. Big up to everyone that's in the chat that's now come. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. We've got 722 of you in here. We've only just hit over 100 likes, so there's nowhere near enough of you hitting like and subscribe. So just do that now, people. It takes 2 seconds and it's free. Hit like, hit subscribe, and come back into the chat. Big up to you guys. Okay, what's the next bit of news then? Well, the next bit of news is, in fact, from David Ornstein himself. And a lot of people like David Ornstein. Some people question it. I know Lee Gunner's not a fan, and he definitely has got stuff wrong, David Ornstein. That's for sure. But when it comes here, this is what he said in the Athletic podcast. This was, I think, yesterday. I was listening to some of it myself. Somebody had sent a link on it. And David Ornstein said that a number 9 is Arsenal's first priority. But not far off that is a wide player. I would expect somebody to come in this summer. You would imagine normally to the left, but it's not impossible someone comes in who can play on both sides, which is actually where I believe we should be targeting. That's why you had Leroy Sané of interest. Arsenal were keen on him, but I don't think he was their top priority. He's, of course, now gone to Galatasaray. I don't think there's anyone much higher in their thinking than Nico Williams. We need to pay close attention to that situation. Then you have somebody who clearly has admirers inside Arsenal in Rodrygo. The noises are that he has to have a conversation first with Xabi Alonso. No doubt Arsenal would look at the situation, but what about the finances involved? So David Ornstein said Arsenal are looking at a striker, but they're also looking at a winger. That winger definitely needs to play on the left-hand side, but also play and cover on the right-hand side as well. I don't think we're going to get two wide players. I don't think we're going to get, for example, Rodrygo and Gyökeres. I think we're potentially just going to get a Rodrygo or somebody like that, right? It has to be a frighteningly good signing. It cannot be an underwhelming one. And I think Nico Williams probably would be an underwhelming one for some. Maybe he's got potential, but he's not the one for me. Now, before I continue on that, there has been other news from Fabrizio Romano tonight about Nico Williams. And if I'm honest with you, for those that don't want him, you might be quite happy with this news because it doesn't look like it's going to be Arsenal where he's heading. Fabrizio Romano has suggested that Nico Williams' agent met with Barcelona today after 2 meetings with Bayern Munich, and the players open to Barcelona this summer. It's been confirmed. The Wirtz deal was never in doubt. Pogba and Monaco deal is on. Wow. And Joan Garcia move is now completed. So it looks like Nico Williams will be going to Barcelona. I imagine the release clause is going to be similar to what it was previously, which is around about 50 million euros. I think that is going to be a very, very interesting bit of business because that could have a huge domino effect now. Because are Barcelona going to then look to get rid of a Rafinha? Are they going to look to get rid of somebody? I imagine they want to play Nico Williams. Yeah. Ferran Torres, does he stay there? I know they need backup. I'm not saying that they can only have 11 players, Barcelona. Dani Olmo, is he safe there? So normally Barcelona do business when they want their player, but there's normally someone else coming out the door because that's what happens in Real Madrid and Barcelona. That's how we've got Ozils and Alexis Sanchez. Is there going to be a domino effect now? Not that it's a lot of money, because it's not. But Joan Garcia on top of Nico Williams for a club that's apparently in inverted commas skint. Are they then going to be looking to add to that or get rid of somebody? Could be interesting. I don't think anybody looks like they're going to be guaranteed to go out the door, but I think it will be very interesting. I imagine the players that leave Barcelona will be the deadwood now, if I'm honest. But watch this space. So Nico Williams doesn't look like it's happening. So who's coming to Arsenal? That's my big question mark now. Who is coming to Arsenal? I don't know. I've got to be honest. I don't know. I know who I want. I want Rodrygo. But is Rodrygo coming to Arsenal? Is Rodrygo even leaving Real Madrid? It sounds to me as if the chat with Xabi Alonso is happening. Whether it's happened already or not, I don't know. I think it will be interesting to see what his performances are like in this Club World Cup, how much game time he gets in this Club World Cup. I think Xabi Alonso will want to keep him. I don't know why he would want to leave. I don't know why he would want to leave Real Madrid as a player, but I don't know why Xabi Alonso would want him to leave because he's a great player, right? If he leaves, I know they've still got cover. They've still got Brahim Diaz. They'll probably bring somebody in if he does leave. Mbappe and Vinny Jr., of course, are still there. They've got Endrick still. Real Madrid ain't short, even if they did sell him. But when they do sell him, they're going to bring somebody in because they're going to get 100 million euros for him. And they'll go and get a right winger. I don't know who that right winger will be, but they'll go and get a right winger. So I think it's very interesting to see the Rodrygo take. I know a lot of the chat want him. I know a lot of people outside of Arsenal want him in terms of rivals. Chelsea definitely will be looking at him because they've had problems on the left with Sancho, with Mudryk. Haven't really had anyone settle on that left-hand side. Madueke and Pedro Neto are more right-sided, so I imagine Chelsea will be interested in him for sure. Rodrygo, we all know is wanted by a lot of Arsenal fans, but it ain't just the fans. Obviously, Gabriel, we see today, has been speaking about that move. Now, I don't quite know where this has come from, how this has come out, but Gabriel has been chatting. And he said the following. He's spoken about the Gunners potentially signing Rodrygo. He said, I don't know, but I'd like, obviously, he's a phenomenon. I've told people already he's a phenomenon. If it was up to me, of course. Look, he is not going to say, I don't want to sign him. He's useless. But it's quite interesting now because that will then spark the rumor. And players listen to this. Players are aware of it. And I hope that Rodrygo knows that there's a lot of love for him at Arsenal, not just by the fans, but by the players as well. We've already got Gabriel. We've already got Gabby Jesus. We've already got Gabby Martinelli. If he wants to be a Gabby Rodrygo, he can come and be a Gabby Rodrygo, right? And join as the four Gabbies. Because for me, Rodrygo is an unbelievable player, a ridiculous player. And what I love about Rodrygo is he starts on the left, but he can play on the right. And he does want to start more on the left, which I think is why he's become a little bit disillusioned at Real Madrid. His numbers have been great. This season, I believe he's been probably Real Madrid's best winger, certainly alongside Kylian Mbappe. Vinicius Jr. has actually been one of the ones that has been disappointing this season. I'm not saying he's not world-class because he is. I listened to Dave and the stream. Dave, big up to him. I did a combined 11 with him when we played Real Madrid, and he left Vinny Jr. out and played a front three of Saka, Rodrygo, and Mbappe. So that shows you how highly rated Rodrygo is from the fans over at Real Madrid. They do not want to lose him. So if he is available, it's a no-brainer. 100 million euros should be already thrown in. We should already be testing the waters. And I know that now it's shut, the window, and then it opens again in a few days when this Club World Cup begins, or ends, should I say. For me, we have to test the waters. There's over 1,000 people in here. Come on, guys, hit the like button. Big up to everyone that's here. Make sure you've clicked on Match Bingo live in the chat right now. That will take you through to the app. Make sure you've got Match Bingo downloaded, people, because they're our sponsors. So we need to get everybody in the chat clicking on them, please. 1.1k in here. Only, wow, we haven't even hit 200 likes. Let's get up to 1,000 likes. That's what I'm trying to do at the moment, is try and hit 1,000 likes every show. That would be amazing if we could do that. So please, let's do it. Okay, we've got someone spamming the chat with information, so let's do it. Please don't put it in anymore. We've seen it. Thank you very much. Barcelona have reassured Nico Williams' agent on registration it'd not be a problem. There we go. So it looks like he's going. So that's good. I don't know if he's trying to be excited by that, or if he's happy with that, or if he's not. I personally am. I do not want him at Arsenal. I don't want him at Arsenal. That would not excite me at all, Nico Williams. They've wanted him for a while. He wants to stay in Spain. It's perfect, right? So Rodrygo, for me, is the one, right? Thanks for telling me I look rough, Chris. I do feel rough, but thank you so much for caring. I wanted to try and do a show. And if I'm honest, it's not going to be gone for much longer because I am struggling. But big up to you all. I appreciate it. Look, I don't think Rodrygo will come to Arsenal, if I'm honest. So I don't feel like there's the potential for that. I'm definitely not necking beers, Craig. It is Pepsi. I wish I was. Maybe I should start to get on it, to be honest. Faye has said, Daniel, funny, Rodrygo's numbers are horrible. They're certainly not. And to be honest with you, goals and assists for me, they're brilliant, but they're not the be-all and end-all. Like, if you look at what Rodrygo has done this season, it's been better than Vinny Jr. So I don't think it's been horrendous. You look how good he's been in the last few. He's been a phenomenal footballer. So, but big up to you for the super chat, mate. My God, I'm struggling. Okay, so hot toddy is what you need. Look, man, I've got to be honest. I've been dosed up all day. It's just the way it is. It's frustrating. That's what it is when you get cold and flu. So all you can do is keep drinking and keep dosing up. Anyway, listen, let's move because that's enough talk on Rodrygo. It looks like Nico Williams is to Barca. Looks like Rodrygo is the one that we want. Gabriel wants him. Is he going to go? I'm not so sure, if I'm honest with you. I'm personally not so sure. The striker is, of course, the one that we do want, and that's what we're going to come to in a minute. If we do not go and get Rodrygo, and we know that Nico Williams is not available, there are other left wingers out there, but they wouldn't excite me as much. I'm a big fan of Eze, but I do think he's more of a central player that can play out there. Morgan Rogers, likewise, would excite me, but I kind of feel like they're both in the middle a bit more that can play out wide. Alex Baena, likewise. I also look at Ademola Lookman and think he's one that I would be very interested in if, of course, we don't get Rodrygo. And the other one that I think I probably would take would be Barcola. Now, I understand that he's a bit wasteful at times, but tell me a wide man that isn't. I look at the stats and people are talking about Rodrygo stats. If you look at the goals and assists for him, I'm a fan of that. And I would take those two. I wouldn't take Rafael Leao. Now, a lot of people think I'm mad for this, and I did a poll the other day, and it was 53% said no, and the rest said yes. It was so close. We had like a pretty much 50-50. I think I actually stopped it at like a kind of dead on, saying half said no way, don't want him anywhere near Arsenal. The other half said, yeah, he's a beast. Now, he is on his day unplayable, and he's had one good season, Rafael Leao, where he got 15 goals like Martinelli did. And since then, it ain't been great. But I don't think Leao would be the answer. I think he would excite half the fan base. Half the fan base would be like, now, don't get me wrong, I'd take a punt on him if is the only one that we could go with, but I believe we could do better. Don't want Garnacho, don't really want Mitoma, don't really want Semenyo, don't really want, as I've said, Williams, who looks like he's going to Barcelona now. There's only really Ademola Lookman that I would go okay because he's been cooking in Europe. Rafael Leao, not for me. But Barcola, I think there's serious potential there. I don't think any of them are ready now other than Rodrygo. And I think if we don't get Rodrygo, because I want Rodrygo and Eze, if we don't get Rodrygo, I'd go with Rodgers and Eze. I think I've decided. That's what I'd do. Kudus can't really play on the left. He's more of a right or central. It's a poor market, the left wing market. I said I wanted Kvaratskhelia in January, and everyone said no, he's not going, and he's going to PSG. So we lost out on one there. We can't miss out on Rodrygo if he's available. We just really can't. He's an exceptional talent. He really is. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. So that's the left wing market. Let's keep talking because David Ornstein isn't done yet. Obviously, Nico Williams is mentioned. We've just mentioned Romano, talking about that. And let's talk about the striker option, shall we? Because it's the elephant in the room. Do we know what's happening with Gyökeres? Ornstein says that Arsenal are working on the number 9 position every day. These things are not as simple as we, the public and media, might think or want to imagine. They've got to get this right. It's a boring answer, but it's ongoing. They'll be assessing their options. Sesko, Gyökeres, and Watkins are high among them. There'll be so many different factors involved on the pitch, off the pitch. Football, financial, transfer fee, structure, add-ons, bonuses, salaries, agent commission. We see the reports of some dialogue with Leipzig and the representatives of Sesko, and that's normal. The numbers, release clause, gentleman's agreement, payment terms. Similarly with Gyökeres and Watkins, we're not aware of other candidates. You can't really put a timescale on it. I'm sure Arsenal will want to make developments this week, next week, or as soon as possible. A lot of work goes into this, and we clearly don't have a conclusion just yet. Now, that's quite a lot of waffle there from David Ornstein, if I'm honest with you. That to me says, I don't know who Arsenal are going to sign. What it does say, however, is that Arsenal are going to sign a number 9. We just don't know who it is. I do not want Ollie Watkins unless he comes in with somebody else, like Gyökeres. I do not want Sesko unless he comes in alongside Gyökeres. If we don't get any of them names, I would want Julian Alvarez. And after that, I'm really struggling because I do not know any other centre forward that gets Arsenal across the line other than Alexander Isak, who's not available. So I was speaking to someone yesterday who has a little bit of information inside the club who says that Isak they're still not giving up on, and that's the one they're going all out for. So are these just smoke screens? Newcastle have said Isak's not for sale, so I don't know why we're still entertaining that. I don't see Isak going anywhere. So let's just go and get Gyökeres and stop mucking around. Now, if they can afford both, and we can start to discuss what Sesko and Gyökeres looks like, and I mentioned this yesterday, that if we was to go and actually try to get both, that would be excellent for Arsenal. Havertz and Jesus then are removed, and they're the squad players, and then you've got Sesko and Gyökeres. Sterling has gone. Jesus becomes the Sterling, yeah, and then you've got Havertz, who becomes the backup, the Jesus, and then you've got Sesko and Gyökeres. Havertz can drop into midfield. Makes me feel sick, but obviously can, in inverted commas, become a squad player in the attacking 10 as well. For me, I'd be happy with that. Now, I know people are going to say we haven't got the money and we can't afford the wages and the PSR will be breached and all this. From what we understand, I don't know that that actually would even bin or go across or breach PSR. What it would do, however, is prevent another position being filled this summer window. But you know what? If we don't get another defender, or we don't get a goalkeeper, or we don't get another bloody left back, then so be it. Go and get 2 forward players. I'll be more than happy with that. I really would. If we don't get an attacking midfielder, but we get 2 strikers, I'll be cool with that if it has to be. I just want to see an attack at Arsenal that's scary, and I haven't seen one for years. The last striker I was really confident in front of goal with was Aubameyang. It's been crazy. So long, man. So long. So I've got to be honest. I just want to get Gyökeres now. I just want to get Gyökeres now. Like, we have to be brutal, ruthless, and go for it. For me, a lot of people want Sesko. A lot of people want Victor Gyökeres. I personally really want Victor Gyökeres. Like, I really want Victor Gyökeres. It's just, I don't know how many more times I can say and stress that I think this is the guy. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. So let's take a look at the potential of a bid that's been made for Gyökeres. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I don't know if you believe this is the case. I don't know if you think this is true, but reports in Portugal suggest that Arsenal have made a first bid. Now, some people are saying this is nonsense. Some people are saying it's waffle and it's a smokescreen because we're going for Sesko. But there has been some developments on both Leipzig and Sporting Lisbon's position. So let's take a look at it. According to a report in Portugal, Arsenal have submitted their first official bid for Gyökeres. It's 55 million plus 10 million in add-ons. The offer was made during a meeting yesterday. Sporting are expected to reject it. So don't get excited because this one's not getting anywhere near closer, right? We're testing the waters if this is true, and we believe that Gyökeres is the guy that we want. For those that do believe Gyökeres is the guy for Arsenal, I'm with you. I want this guy badly. But I do not know if there's any... I do not know if there's any truth in this. So all we can do is share reports, man. All we can do is share reports. If you believe this is true, yeah. I can't get excited anymore because I'm so done with being in advanced talks and putting in first bids and being interested in. I just want to sign a striker. I don't think it's a lot to ask. I really don't. I really don't. So if Andrea Berta is trying to work his magic, I personally hope that Victor Gyökeres is keen on Arsenal. I think he is. From what we understand, it doesn't look like he said, no, I don't want Arsenal or keep Arsenal away. But there has been a little bit of frustration within camp with Victor Gyökeres, from what we understand. Now, we all know that Hugo Viana has gone now to Manchester City. He was the sporting director at Sporting Lisbon. Ruben Amorim left as the manager. Hugo Viana both went to Manchester, funny enough. One of them went to Man United, obviously, as the manager, and Ruben Amorim, and Hugo Viana has gone as sporting director to Manchester City. When they left, there was a gentleman's agreement that said that his release clause, that at the time was 100 million euros, which is around 84 million pounds, could be dropped and he'd be allowed to leave in the summer for around 65 million euros. Now there's been a fallout, apparently, behind the scenes, and Victor Gyokeres has lost his head and got a bit mental. Now that he said he's leaving, they're saying, no, why should we allow it to be less than the release clause? We now want it to be around about 80 million euros again. Šeško at Leipzig, very similar story. We believe there was a gentleman's agreement that would allow him to leave for a club in the summer if he remained at Leipzig for one more season. He's 21 years old, and now it looks like he wants to leave. They're holding out for 90 million euros. Gyökeres, I believe, wants, I think, around about £300,000 a week. I think Šeško wants a little bit less than that. So it looks like there's going to be one potential offer for a cheaper striker in Gyökeres that's going to want more wages. And if we want to pull more money but less wages, it's going to be Šeško. But we got to get the guy that's ready. Now, I saw a breakdown video from Graham and James on AFTV. Big up to both of them because they know their onions when it comes to football and tactics. But what would kind of worry me, or a huge question mark, would be the way they were talking about how he spins off from the left and he's got pace from the right and he's all over the place. I don't want my striker being over here. I want my striker here. Goal, 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 goal. How many times has Saka whipped the ball across and no one's there? How many times did Kieran Tierney from the left come on, whipping balls in, nobody there? I don't want our left back bombing down, trying to click in balls, and Šeško standing next to him on the left. I want our striker in the middle. And Gyökeres is the guy, in my opinion, that's just the absolute killer in the box. The guy's a bagsman, and I think he's worth a punt. Now, Šeško is someone that Arteta is apparently obsessed with, from what we understand, in terms of tactically and how we would set up. And there's been a great tactical breakdown by Graham and James, which I suggest you go watch. But I don't believe that it excites me, because I feel like it's such a risk of a player that has to come in and deliver. And I think for a 21-year-old to come in and win Arsenal the league is a big ask. Thierry Henry won the league of Arsenal at 25. And that was Thierry Henry. Asking Šeško to be 22 years old and go win the league, I think is a massive ask. Now, I know Haaland did it, but he was, 24, was he? 23? That's Haaland, who's I don't know any other machine that's doing what he's doing. People have tried to compare him to Haaland and Lewandowski and Zlatan. Why? The guy's done nothing of the sort. Like, he's a 21-year-old player who's got nowhere near the amount of goals that Haaland did for Salzburg or Dortmund. He's got nowhere near the level of quality that Lewandowski was doing consistently for Dortmund. And Zlatan, really? Isn't Gyökeres more like Zlatan? And like Aziz, big up to Aziz, talking about Anelka. I watched that on Lee Judges. I couldn't believe what Lee was saying. Like, I love Judges. He's my boy. But I'm like, are you for real, Judges? You're talking about Anelka here, man. I understand what he was saying. I think people have twisted it to say that he looks like Anelka. I think Lee was saying when Anelka came to Arsenal, he was young. So there's the pressure of Anelka. Like, he's got to be hitting the hypes of it. I think that's what he was meaning, but it come out a hell of a wrong, if I'm honest. Came out like he was trying to compare him to him. So I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I find it bizarre that we have to compare strikers or footballers all the time. Like, we'll get a goalkeeper. Oh, he just looks like Jens Lehmann. No, he doesn't. You know? Oh, we've got this Calafiori. He looks like Paolo Maldini. No, he doesn't. No, he might have long hair, but he don't defend anything nowhere near as good as Paolo Maldini. Why can't he just be Calafiori? Why can't we have a David Raya in goal? Why do we have to have Saliba looks like? Why can't we just have Saliba? Like, why do they always have to look like someone, man? So that's where I'm at. Like, just be yourself. Be yourself. That's where I'm at. So, yeah, let's see. I know Sophie is saying that nothing is true about Gyökeres, and he's posted it on his Instagram. I think he's kind of trying to calm the situation down, because apparently it's got quite heated. So I don't know what's happening over there. I put it on my Twitter the other day, or my X, should I say. I'm so confused about where we're going with this striker situation. Like, I actually don't know that I'm a fan of going in for both players. I don't think that's a good thing. I think you should have your target and go and get them because they're both easy players to go and get, by the way. It isn't like we're deciding on Mbappe, Haaland, or Isak here. Like, they're easy to get. Like, Haaland is impossible to get. Mbappe is impossible to get. I would argue that Salah and Isak are the other players that are potentially very difficult to get this summer. If you're going to go down the road of, oh, I'm not too sure if we can prize away this Leipzig striker and this Sporting Lisbon striker. Like, when was the last time that Arsenal went in for a Real Madrid striker, a Barcelona winger, a Bayern Munich midfielder? You have to go back to the Wenger days with Ozil and Sanchez. It's tough, man. It really is. So, yeah, it's mad, to be honest. If we get both, as I say, brilliant. If we get one, then I hope it's Gyökeres. If we get both, great stuff. I'd love to, but I think that if we're going to go in with both, you've got to get both. You can't start juggling because then they're going to say, well, "Do you want me? Or do you want him?" Like, you got to be careful with it, man. You got to be careful with it. Let's continue. Let's continue because there's news that we might be losing a player. And you know what? I'm actually cool if this happens. Andrea Berta looks to be working his magic. Hand of Arsenal, which used to be Hand of Ozil. A lot of people say is very, very reliable. I don't know that he is or not, but people say that he is. And of course, we're talking about Zinchenko. AC Milan have reached out to Arsenal about 2 to 3 weeks ago to inquire about Zinchenko's situation. Berta's message is straightforward. Either pay a reasonable transfer fee or do not proceed further. Now, I would get rid of him. Zinchenko, for me, you take 25 million if you can, because that's what we paid for him. Otherwise, you'd be realistic and say that you take what you can. He's on a ridiculous wage of 150 grand a week. I personally think he will go somewhere, but he will not get 150 grand a week. He'll probably have to take a pay cut around about 100, maybe 90 if he's going that area. And we'll probably have to allow him to go for about 15 million. Something like that. That's probably how this will end. It hasn't been a great signing. He's been okay. He did well for 1 year. And then people worked out how to play him. And then, yeah, defensively, it's been a nightmare. He could probably do a job for somebody in midfield. He could probably be a squad player for Arsenal in midfield if we were desperate. But if I'm honest, yeah, it ain't looking amazing for his future at Arsenal. And Andrea Berta has worked that out. Now, what I like about Andrea Berta there is he said, look, bid or piss off, basically. We're not going to let you have him for 5 million. Something I've been really impressed by in the last few years of Andrea Berta has not just been who he's bought, how he's sold players. Now, he's bought some players you think, was that wise? João Felix was a huge signing for Atletico Madrid at the time. People thought he was going to be one of the best in the world when he was signed for a record fee of over 100 million euros. But he had managed to sell him for decent money to both Chelsea and a few loan deals for him to still keep his value and worth. And I think that was quite impressive, to be fair. There's also been players that Atletico Madrid have sold over the years that have been gone for a hell of a lot of money that he's had a lot to deal with. So for me, I think it's a really good appointment, and I hope now that he's allowed to work his magic. So Zinchenko looks like he's going. What other business is happening at Arsenal? We've spoken about the striker. We've spoken about the left winger. There's been no rumours other than Eze and Rodgers loosely about an attacking midfielder. But Zubimendi and the goalkeeper and the defender are something that I think is probably going to happen. So let's take a little bit more of a look into that then before we close. Kepa, it looks like it's happening, right? It does. It looks like it's going to be happening. Kepa has agreed to join Arsenal. They'll have to pay £5 million release clause. It's not done yet, but it's a situation that's advanced and is being worked on. Kepa's prepared to fight for his place with Raya. This, for me, means nothing. I do not care about this signing. It is not one that excites me. It's not one I hate. I personally feel like we're going down the road of another Chelsea reject, and let's just get him in and see what happens. I don't care. He's hardly going to play Carabao Cup games. If that'll be it. I don't see him being a threat to David Raya. And if he's happy to come and sit on the bench, then so be it. That's one that I see as just a nothing signing. Zubimendi, Arsenal's work on Zubimendi in terms of intensive efforts really began last summer after the Liverpool move collapsed. Edu was dealing with Sociedad over Mikel Merino, and no doubt there would be conversations about Zubimendi. As far as we know, Arsenal regard this situation as done and even signed. They're expecting Zubimendi to hook up with them for the start of pre-season. And as I've reported for ages, Arsenal have been acting internally and planning with him for this season. It looks like Arsenal may be paying over the 60 million release clause in order to stagger the payments rather than paying them in one go. Now, we love to pay in installments, Arsenal. We absolutely love it. Now, I imagine that's a PSR thing. I imagine that's just the way it is. Don't really care how you pay it. Let's just get the player in. This is going to happen. Kepa's coming, Zubimendi's coming, and they're the only two at the moment that I know about. It looks like we want a striker, a left winger, and a defender on top of that. I don't know that we're going to get another attacking midfielder. I think we might just use Ethan and Max Dowman, and I think that could be the cover for Ødegaard. I don't think that's good enough, I've got to say. I would rather Eze on top of it. I'd rather a Morgan Rogers, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think it's going to happen. So we've spoken on the winger. Not sure who it's going to be. We know the striker's probably going to be Sesko or Gyökeres. Zubimendi's going to be one of them. I think Hato looks like the defender we're linked with at the moment, and Kepa's the goalkeeper. So we've got Kepa, potentially a defender like Hato, Zubimendi, that's free, and I think it'll be a winger and a striker. I still feel on top of that, we're going to be short, but that's what we do at Arsenal. We leave ourselves short, right? We leave ourselves short. I think we definitely need another attacking midfielder and wide player. That's what I believe personally. Like Eze, Morgan Rogers, somebody like that needs to come into Arsenal as well. So let's see what happens. Let's see. Like I I personally believe Zubimendi's coming to Arsenal because everyone said he's coming. People say Real Madrid. I haven't seen him. Real Madrid haven't bid for him at all. There was reports that he likes Xabi Alonso, but people are like, "Oh, he's going to Real Madrid. Oh, and they want to try and hype it up." But I haven't seen anything suggesting that. And I've got to be honest, if he went to Real Madrid, I actually wouldn't care because I don't particularly believe this is a massive priority signing that's needed. Arteta does, but I'm not so sure. Faye says right wing appearances 145, 34 goals, 30 assists, 78 appearances on left wing, 23 goals, 16 assists. Fans should stop lying about Rodrygo's numbers. I don't think anybody's lied about his numbers. I don't think anybody has said how many numbers he's got, to be fair, unless I've missed in the chat what people are saying. Maybe people in the chat have said that he's got 100 goals or something, but they're fine, those stats. They're pretty good as far as I'm concerned. 64 goals and assists from the right side. And what we got there, 39 from the right. Or the left, sorry. I don't think that's too bad, if I'm honest. That's pretty good for someone who's won everything in football. So I'm a fan of him. I like him. Maybe Real Madrid don't. If you don't, let him come to us. That's what I would say. So that's Zubimendi. Looks like that's going to get done. I don't think there's going to be any problems there from what people are saying. If there is, and he goes to Real Madrid, then these journalists, they're all literally in the mud. Every single one of them. All these beloved, we love Ornstein and Romano, and we love Sammy Mockbell and all that. Well, they're all going to get put in the mud if he don't come to Arsenal. So let's hope that for their sake that he does. And let's just watch this guy, man, who, by the way, is 39, I think. Santi Cazorla scoring for Oviedo, who, of course, were his side from his boyhood club. And he's gotten back to La Liga. He's got a chance, to gain promotion back to La Liga. I absolutely love Santi Cazorla. Like, one of my all-time favourites, man. Absolute legend. What a baller. Absolute baller. We love you, mate. We absolutely love you, Santi. Look, I'm going to come to a close because I'm not feeling great. I wanted to do a show today. 45 minutes is enough for me. And I want to say thank you guys for being with us. I want to say thank you for hitting like and subscribe. There's still not enough of you so far that have done that. 1.3K in the building. We're going to send you somewhere. I don't know where yet. Let's take a look. who's live, and we can go and share some love, and you can go and show some love over there and say, "Dan Potts raid." Let's raid Aaron. Let's show him some love. He's always been good to us. He's talking all things Arsenal right now, and he's got a show called Call It Out, which I actually really like because he says it how it is, Aaron, and he gets people on to talk about how peeved off he is at Arsenal. So let's let's go show him some love, people. Where are we, Aaron? Where is his thing? Where is his show? I'm sure he's live at the moment, or did I mess that up? Let's have another look. Sure, Aaron is live. Aaron, yeah, he is live. Aaron talks. There it is. All right, I'll send you over there. Do me a favor, people. Make sure you go and show Aaron some love. I'm absolutely sweating up here because I've got the cold sweats. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Make sure you do me a favor and hit the like and subscribe. Download Match Bingo and go show Aaron some love. Just say Dan Potts raid. Dan Potts sent me 12th man raid, whatever you want to do. And we'll see you next time. We're out of here, people. Laters.